During my freshman internship, I almost got drunk at a drinking party and nearly got into trouble. Thankfully, Lucas helped me. Later, we fell in love and I got pregnant. Lucas said he would marry me, but I still hadn't met his family, and things dragged on for a long time. It wasn't until I was 6 months pregnant, and my belly was showing that he finally arranged a proposal. "I'm sorry, I can't help you. My mom was very worried about me and unfortunately passed away in a car accident on her way to find me. My dad was very sad and, out of anger, slapped me. I lost hearing in my ear, and then he suffered a cerebral hemorrhage. When we met again, I had become a hostess, and he looked at me with pain in his eyes. On the 18th, 2 cases of red wine need to be delivered to the VIP room. Hurry up and arrange it." As soon as I changed into a fitted bunny girl outfit, the manager called over the intercom. "It's here." I immediately responded and went to get the wine in 5-centimeter high heels. Just as I arrived at the door of the room, I heard my old acquaintance Ethan speaking. He said, "I only recommend the best. This girl from room 18 is beautiful and has a great voice. If I wasn't worried about it being too much trouble, I would have made a move already. But you still have to be careful with girls in places like this. Getting close to them can be risky." As soon as the words were spoken, everyone started laughing. I lowered my head, pretending I didn't hear, and squeezed through the door into the private room. The laughter gradually stopped, and many gazes focused on me. Some were curious, some were joking, and others had ulterior motives. I didn't dare to look up and tried to greet them in a soft tone, half squatting by the table to pour drinks. "Hey girl, you look really good today." Ethan held his wine glass close to me, with his other hand playing with the little fluff at the back of my uniform. I didn't dodge, letting his palm gently slide over my hip. Bang! The wine glass crashed heavily onto the table, making a loud noise. The private room immediately fell silent. I instinctively looked up and met a pair of familiar yet cold eyes. It was Lucas. The face I could never forget was now clearly in front of me again. My fingers gripping the bottle involuntarily tightened. I had a moment's impulse to smash the wine bottle against his head and hurt him with the shards, but I knew I couldn't do that. My life no longer allows for any fluctuations. Seeing everyone looking at him, he extended his long fingers and gently tapped the wine glass. Then he began to pour the wine. The sound was so cold, as if it had never known me. I lowered my head, and after I stood up, Ethan also awkwardly withdrew his hand. I successfully filled each boss's wine glass with the decanted wine, and then made an excuse to leave by saying I needed to move another box of wine. I thought that after all these years, the trials of time and experience had left me with little emotion, but as soon as I stepped out of the private room, I couldn't help but shed 2 tears. That feeling of humiliation I hadn't felt in years suddenly surged back, making me feel both repressed and heavy. I once thought that when I saw Lucas again, I would fight him at all costs. However, when I really saw him again, I still had to compromise with him rationally for the sake of my life. There was no time to adjust my emotions. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand and picked up another box of wine to head back. On the way, Lucas came over. As we brushed past each other, he grabbed me. I accidentally twisted my ankle and fell down, holding onto the wine. My knee hurt a lot, but I still didn't dare to let go of the wine. If I break a bottle from this case of wine, I can't afford to pay for it. A complex emotion appeared in Lucas's eyes, and then he spoke with a mocking tone. "Emma, you're just like your mother, leaving people speechless. Does she know you're here drinking?" Hobbling back home, Oliver was still fast asleep. Unlike when I left, he was tightly holding onto my pajamas, his little face buried in them. As if that gave him a sense of security, a wave of complex emotions surged in my heart, and I bent down to kiss his little face. Back then, everyone advised me to give up the child. But I didn't listen. I was filled with hatred for Lucas, a hatred that made it impossible to calm down. I wanted to give birth to this child and then torment him. After many years, once Lucas is married, I will then present this child to him. In the end, his life will definitely be messed up by me. I thought that if I was not doing well, he wouldn't be either. But later, when the child was really born, I couldn't bring myself to be harsh on him no matter what. Seeing him so fragile, crying made my heart ache. As he grew a bit older, he would hold onto my leg, looking at me with those innocent big eyes, softly calling me Mommy. Every time I heard that, it felt like all my resentment could vanish. So I changed his name from Lucas Hent to Oliver Nyanen. The child really did nothing wrong. I didn't want to push him in front of Lucas anymore. I wanted to hide him away, keeping him away from all harm and pain. But fate always likes to play tricks on people. When Oliver was 4, he was diagnosed with leukemia and needed regular blood transfusions at the hospital. The high medical expenses had already exhausted my parents' savings, and Oliver had become very thin after countless treatments. The hardships of life never spared him. Nor did they spare me. I gently stroked Oliver's thin face, and it was also the first time I had the thought of letting him go. Lucas seems very wealthy now, and his family members' bone marrow is most likely a match. But would he really be willing to help Oliver? He hates me so much and also hates my mom. Could this hatred affect Oliver as well? I can't take that risk. With such worries, I slowly closed my eyes. Ever since Mom left, I've been having nightmares every night, and tonight is no exception. This time, the images in the dream were particularly vivid, perhaps because I saw Lucas. In the dream, it felt like I returned to the day I was proposed to, standing under the big screen waiting for Lucas to surprise me. Lucas didn't come. Only the images that suddenly appeared on the big screen drew many people to stop and look. Seeing those images, I felt humiliated and ashamed, filled with discomfort. The gazes of those around me felt like knives, causing me immense pain. As I grew more anxious, I heard the voices of the teacher and classmates. Emma, considering the current situation, you can't focus on studying at school, so the school has decided it would be better for you to take a leave of absence. Look, this classmate is good-looking, but their private life is really unreliable. Haha, you asked if I pursued her, would she be with me? It's really disgusting. How could there be such people in our school? It truly makes us girls feel embarrassed. After studying hard for 12 years and finally getting into a prestigious school, I never expected that such a person would tarnish the school's reputation. It's really disappointing. No, that's not true. Our spirits have been under great pressure. And I hurriedly denied it while covering my head. Just then, a loud noise suddenly interrupted my words from behind. I turned around and saw my mom collapsed in the car, covered in blood. She slowly reached out her hand, calling my name, Emma. Emma, don't be afraid. Mom is here. I was so scared that I suddenly opened my eyes, still feeling tense and suppressed inside. This dream has haunted me for 9 whole years. Oliver tightly hugged my neck. His cold little face leaned in closer. Don't worry, Mom. Oliver is here. Oliver will always be with you. I calmed my emotions, hugged his small body tightly again, my voice a bit hoarse. Yes. With Oliver here, Mom is not afraid anymore. However, in the next moment, Oliver's words nearly made my heart jump out. Mom, Grandpa seems to have fallen in the bathroom. I rushed into the bathroom, and the scene I saw shocked me greatly. Father's protective pad was torn, and urine was spilled everywhere. The wheelchair was tipped over beside him, and he was struggling to stand up but accidentally hurt his nails. Dad, didn't I tell you, just call me when you need my help? Get out, don't look, just go out. I didn't listen to my father. Even though he felt embarrassed, I helped him take off his clothes one by one, cleaned his body, and put on a new colostomy bag. When I was dealing with the wound on his nail, Dad's eyes were a bit red as he looked at me. If I had met your mom sooner, you might have it easier. My hand stopped, and I struggled to hold back my tears. Dad, I no longer have a mom. I can't lose you too. His expression grew heavier, and his trembling right hand reached out with difficulty, wanting to touch my right ear. I'm sorry, son. I pressed his hand against my face, trying hard to make my smile look natural. It's okay, Dad. I still have one ear to listen with. It doesn't affect me. I applied the medication for him and had Oliver take him to the balcony to see the flowers and relax while I went to clean the bathroom. After closing the bathroom door, I leaned against it, feeling my whole body go limp, and slid down to the floor. Yesterday, Lucas asked me if my mom would find out that I was working as a hostess. I was also wondering if my mom could see all of this from above. Would she blame me? But I really have no other choice. My father is paralyzed from a cerebral hemorrhage and needs someone to take care of him. And Oliver's illness also requires constant financial support. How many jobs can a girl like me, who was advised to drop out in her freshman year and has lost her hearing, find? I can only choose to work in nightclubs because the hours suit me, and the income comes in quickly. I was once confused about my dignity, even slapping my boss in a fit of anger. But dignity didn't make my life better, nor could it heal Oliver's illness. As a result, after slapping my boss, I ended up compensating him with half a year's salary for his losses. Since that day, I've forced myself to endure and slowly become like an emotionless robot. What's the harm in a gentle touch? What's the problem with a kiss? If it can save my dad and Oliver, I'm willing to give everything. I really don't want to hold sick Oliver and watch him cry at the nurse's station because we can't afford the fees. I often tell myself I need to earn a lot of money to send my dad to the best rehabilitation center. I want to give Oliver a bone marrow transplant to make him a healthy child. But this wish feels like a dream. So far out of reach at night, someone wrapped their arms around my legs and poured me drinks while the manager came in laughing, saying he had urgent business with me. The person reluctantly stroked my leg gently before letting me leave. Just as I stepped out, I ran into Lucas's cold face. He grabbed me, pulled me into a private room, and then pushed me onto the sofa. Are you just going to let those men touch you like that? What does it matter? Aren't I doing this for the job? If Mr. Lucas has no problem, I'll leave first. I still haven't received my tip. I stood up, and just as I opened the door, his hand pressed against it from behind, closing it. I didn't turn back, but he forcibly turned me around to face him. How much can you earn in a month? I can offer you double the income if you come with me. We were very close, and the atmosphere was quite intimate, close enough that he could kiss me just by lowering his head slightly. In the heat of romance, he had often pinned me against the door like this, kissing me in a way that made me not want to part. At that time, I felt happy and shy. But now I can't stand him getting close at all. I pushed him away, filled with sarcasm. What's wrong? You don't hate me anymore. Lucas lowered his eyes slightly, as if he had some indescribable feelings inside. I bit my lips slightly and suddenly thought of Oliver. I was thinking if his hatred wasn't so deep, perhaps I could help him a bit. But before I could speak, the door of the private room was gently pushed open a crack. A gentle voice came through the crack in the door. Honey, what are you doing here? Ethan and the others are looking for you. It's fine, I'm just taking a call here. Lucas glanced at me and then smiled faintly at the door. He reached out to open the door, and I leaned against the wall, quietly watching him walk out. I lowered my head, gently covering my forehead, revealing a hint of a helpless smile. It seems I was mistaken. Even if he is single, he might not be willing to help Oliver, let alone now that he has a family. I stayed in the room for a long time, sighed deeply, and then wandered between the various private rooms. I was busy until late and too tired to stand steadily. As soon as I stepped out of the club, a Lincoln car suddenly stopped beside me. Get in. The window rolled down, revealing Lucas's ever-cold expression. Sorry, Mr. Lucas, I don't do business outside. After I coldly refused, I turned and walked away. He drove the car over, blocking my path. Just when I was about to get angry, he suddenly got out of the car and forcibly pulled me inside. After closing the door, he stepped on the gas quickly, as if we were about to embark on an adventure together. The car stopped in front of our old neighborhood. I almost jumped out of the car and started dry heaving by the flower bed on the roadside. Lucas's voice came from behind me. Emma, I'm really angry and have a lot of grievances against you. Because of this, I won't let you off easily, since you've given up your dignity. Why not give me a chance? I can offer you a good deal, right? I smiled faintly. Lucas, even if I were to give something up, it would never be you. You want me to bow down and plead with you. Dream on. Lucas grabbed my chin, his eyes filled with anger. Is he begging me? If you can do it with those men, why can't you do it with me? Besides, you haven't done it before. Right. Do you remember how you cooperated with me in bed 9 years ago? Listening to him reminisce made me increasingly uncomfortable, and I couldn't help but slap him. The biggest regret of my life is meeting him and having loved him. Time won't rewind. All I can do is keep regretting and blaming myself in my heart. Lucas tilted his head. Still in shock, when my father's wheelchair suddenly stopped in front of me. Lucas, why are you here again? Lucas turned around, saw my father's expression, and looked shocked. I was worried he would affect my father, so I quickly pushed my father's wheelchair back. Dad, why are you still awake? He's not Lucas. You've got it wrong. Let's go home first. No, you're wrong. He is. My father insisted on gripping the wheel of the wheelchair, and when I stopped pushing, he pulled his hand away and pushed me aside. Emma, go home. Don't let him deceive you anymore. I didn't have a chance to say anything before my dad turned to Lucas, his face full of excitement. What do you want to do to Emma this time? You think you've not hurt her enough? You wanted revenge. You've already done that 9 years ago. And Emma's mother died because of it. If you still feel it's not enough, then you can have my life. Just when we hadn't reacted yet, my dad's wheelchair suddenly turned and rushed towards the road. Dad, what are you doing? I rushed over, but still couldn't grab the handles of the wheelchair. The large truck kept honking, and the sound of the brakes was sharp and piercing. But it was already too late for everything. I saw my father being thrown out, like an injured kite, crashing heavily to the ground. Blood slowly spread beneath him, becoming more and more noticeable. I trembled as I got up from the ground, staggering forward. Mom, what happened to Grandpa? A voice from behind startled me. I slowly turned around and rushed to hug Oliver tightly. Don't look, Oliver, don't look. I didn't notice that Lucas was behind me, looking at Oliver with a very pale face. Did you give birth to this child in my life? I feel like I'm always making the wrong choices. Being with Lucas led to setbacks in my studies and affected my family. Later, I decided to have the child, but the child kept getting sick. Now, I've chosen to work in the nightlife, and encountering Lucas again has entangled us, ultimately leading to my father's death. Being alive feels like a joke to me. I sat on a bench in the hospital, crying and laughing like a lunatic. Emma, don't do that. Lucas wanted to hug me, but I slapped him hard. I looked at him coldly, feeling as if I was back 9 years ago, filled with hatred. Lucas, why do you still want to come back? And why do you want to involve me? You want revenge, but what wrong have my mother and I done? Shouldn't it be your father who betrayed your mother? You can't even figure out who you should really hate, yet you've shattered my family. What did I do wrong? I pushed him to the ground and punched him furiously. Back then, my mom was just a young girl in her early 20s. As she just stepped into society, she was innocent and beautiful, quickly attracting many suitors. Especially Lucas's father, who stood out among them. He was not only handsome, but also had some achievements in his career. My mom was soon drawn to his pursuit. But at that time, my mom didn't know that he was actually already married, with a pregnant wife at home who was 5 or 6 months along later. The truth was revealed. Lucas's mother confronted the company, and my mom realized she had been deceived all along. But others didn't see it that way. They accused my mom of being immoral, thinking she was like a mistress. In her sadness and anger, my mom decisively cut ties with Lucas's father and left the city. Later, my family introduced my dad to my mom, and she forgot about the past, never thinking of it again. As for Lucas's family, no one knows what happened to them. Little did I expect that many years later, Lucas would come back for revenge, leading to my family's ruin. Lucas didn't resist. When I had hit him enough and no longer had the strength to swing my fists, he was also in tears. Emma, I never thought it would turn out like this. Honestly, I just feel so much pain. Pain, who doesn't in this world? Everyone's life is difficult. Like struggling in a quagmire. Just because one has experienced pain, does it mean it's right to inflict that pain on others? Lucas couldn't answer, especially since he knows that I was exposed online because of that video and got expelled. All my 12 years of effort went to waste. My mom was greatly affected by his text message, yet he dared not say anything. After sending Dad off, I often sit on the balcony in a daze, as I can always recall my parents busying around the house. They would make me delicious meals, smile and call my name, remind me to eat, and tell me to rest early. Lucas suddenly became a laid-back person, waiting at my doorstep every day. When I took Oliver to and from school, he would silently follow us from behind. Occasionally, when Oliver turned around, he would smile at him, wanting to chat. I never stopped Oliver from interacting with him, but Oliver is very sensitive and can sense my dislike for Lucas. In the evenings, when I went to work at the club, Oliver would book the entire place, not allowing any man to come near me. I don't know if he did this out of guilt or some other reason, but I no longer care about that. One day, Oliver asked me, "Mom, did he cause Grandpa and Grandma's situation?" I didn't know how to answer. Adult matters shouldn't involve children, especially since Lucas is still his father. I don't want him to be unhappy, and I definitely don't want him to become another Lucas. The days passed peacefully like this. It seemed to be the most tranquil period I've had in the past 9 years. Until one morning, Oliver suddenly fell ill, and I rushed out of the house holding him, with Lucas waiting outside to take Oliver. The worry on his face was no less than mine. We ran through several red lights to get to the hospital, while Oliver was being treated inside. I spoke to him calmly for the first time. I said, "Lucas, can you help me out? Oliver was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 4, and we never found a suitable bone marrow match. The cost of the surgery was incredibly high for me, almost unbearable. Lucas, I really can't hold on any longer. I don't want to lose Oliver." Lucas took my hand and said, "Okay." Later, he underwent the matching process. At the moment I learned that the match was successful, I felt extremely excited, and tears streamed down my face. I told Oliver that there was hope for him, but Oliver looked at Lucas, and there was no sign of happiness in his eyes. He said, "Mom, I shouldn't have come into this world." Right? No. How could Oliver have such thoughts? It was because of Oliver that Mom became incredibly brave. I held Oliver close, tears streaming down my face. After the incident at home, Dad often felt like he shouldn't be alive anymore. If they are no longer here, how will I get through those tough days? They are my hope for survival. Lucas disappeared after promising to donate bone marrow. He said he had some things to take care of. I've been feeling very uneasy these days. I'm afraid this is another revenge from Lucas, giving me hope only to let me down. On the 4th day after he left, a girl with a sweet voice found me. She placed a beautifully arranged fruit basket by my bedside, gently stroked Oliver's head, and then asked if we could talk. I felt a bit anxious, but still followed her out into the corridor. I was ready to be hit or scolded, but she took out a bundle of money wrapped in newspaper from her bag and handed it to me. Lucas divorced me. I stared at her in surprise, but she smiled easily, like a spring breeze. He came to our house and confessed to my dad about the wrongs he did to you in the past. He said he has already hurt one woman and cannot let another person get hurt. My dad thought it was a good thing for a wayward son to return and asked me if I would give him a chance, but I refused, because no matter how young he was at the time, I felt that what he did was too much, enough for him to regret it for a lifetime. In this life, he will always remember you and the child. Why should I feel wronged for that? Don't worry, this money is not meant for doing bad things. I just feel very sorry for you and the child, so this is my help to you, hoping you both can get better soon. She grabbed my hand, stuffed a stack of money into it, and left with a graceful demeanor. I really envy her kind of grace. I was thinking that if I hadn't met Lucas and hadn't lost my parents, I might also be bright and carefree like her. Right? Unfortunately, there are noifs in this world. When Lucas returned, a relaxed smile appeared on his face. That day, he talked to me a lot. He said he has already made a will, and if anything goes wrong during this surgery, all his assets will be left to me. He also said he bought a small house in the school district, and the house is in my name. Once Oliver gets better, we can move in and live there. Also, He has already arranged Oliver's admission paperwork for the best bilingual school in Land City. I listened silently and didn't say a word, in the end. He sighed and asked me, "Emma, I've made many mistakes in my life. Can you forgive me just this once?" I tightened my fists, thinking of deceiving him by saying I forgave him, so he wouldn't change his mind and not donate his bone marrow to Oliver. But as the words were on the tip of my tongue, I realized I couldn't say the words of forgiveness at all. Seeing my difficulty, he smiled and waved his hand casually as if it didn't matter. Forget it. Let's talk about this later." At that time, none of us expected that the bone marrow transplant would fail, and what we would lose was my Oliver. On the day of the surgery, Oliver held my hand, his eyes full of reluctance. He said, "Mom, I don't want someone else's bone marrow. But if it's to help you need me to survive, I'm willing to accept it." My eyes were red, and I kept kissing his forehead. Of course, Mom needs my Oliver. Oliver is very important to Mom. But when the operating room door opened, the only news the doctor brought was bad. I felt like the whole world had collapsed. Everything went black, and I fainted. I really didn't want to wake up. I can't understand why heaven is so unfair to me, with loved ones leaving me one after another. Only I, the one who caused all the problems, wander alone in this world. The sensations in my body forced me to wake up and face this endless pain. I didn't go to see Lucas. Like a lost soul leaving the hospital, I didn't even get to see Oliver one last time. I really couldn't bear to face him looking so indifferent after returning home. I immediately crawled under the covers, trying hard to close my eyes and escape everything outside. I don't know how long I slept, but suddenly, I heard Lucas breaking in through the door. He pulled me up from the bed, and seeing me like this, he suddenly hugged me and started to cry. He said, "Emma, please don't be like this. It's all my fault. Don't keep torturing yourself like this." I was thinking to myself, what is wrong with me? I'm not really in the mood to go out or talk to anyone. I feel a bit disconnected from this world. The sunlight is too harsh, the noise outside is too loud, and even the wind on my skin makes me uncomfortable. What's wrong with me? All I want is to have a good rest. But even this small wish, Lucas won't let me fulfill. He insists on making me go out, taking me to see a psychologist, and even forces me to get some sun. I find him quite annoying, but there's nothing I can do to change him. Until I saw Oliver at home, I felt like I regained my energy. So I started to have a regular schedule. Going to bed early and waking up early, and also cooking and eating on time. Lucas was very happy at first until he saw me talking to the air while holding Oliver's backpack. The backpack fell to the ground, and I went to pick it up, still wearing a loving smile on my face. "Oliver, wear your backpack properly and don't be naughty." Lucas looked very pale, like paper, with a hint of redness in his eyes. Later, this situation became more and more serious. I not only called for Oliver, but also started talking to my parents. April 3, 2025, is my mother's death anniversary. That morning when I woke up, I felt the world had become very clear. However, the unbearable pain surged back to my heart. I lit 3 incense sticks for my parents, then had breakfast prepared by Lucas. I told Lucas, "Let's go hiking." I had promised Oliver that when he got better, I would take him hiking to enjoy the view from the top of the mountain together. This wish he never fulfilled until his death. I want to help him complete it. Lucas was very excited, even covering his face and crying. There is a tall, wild mountain next to our community, which many hiking enthusiasts visit. Lucas was well prepared. I wore Oliver's favorite sports outfit, tied my hair in a ponytail, and started climbing the mountain with his photo frame in my arms. After 4 hours of effort, I finally reached the top without taking a break. Lucas lagged far behind me. I stood at the edge of the cliff, looking down at a lush forest below, about 1,000 meters away. I waited by the cliff for more than half an hour before Lucas arrived, panting. Seeing me standing at the edge, he was startled and immediately wanted to pull me back. "Emma, don't stand there. It's too dangerous." "Stop, don't come over." I shouted loudly and turned to face him. The gravel beneath my feet quietly rolled down the cliff. Lucas stared at me in a daze, his expression turning serious. Emma, what do you want to do? I held Oliver's photo frame tightly, feeling especially happy inside. I asked Lucas if I could forgive you. Could you bring my family back? Lucas hesitated, not knowing what to say. I understood he couldn't do it. I smiled faintly. And if that's the case, what reason do I have to forgive you? Lucas, you will never be able to make me forgive you in this lifetime. I really hate you. And I even wish you could experience the same nightmares I do, with endless suffering. After saying this, I fell down the cliff before Lucas's terrified gaze. The wind howls in my ears. I hear Oliver calling for Mom. I'm coming to get you. I also heard Mom's gentle voice saying that I, Emma, have suffered, and Dad's soft sigh, saying, Emma, let's go home. I couldn't help but smile. All right, let's go home. Lucas extra one since I can remember, my mom often cried while looking at a photo. The photo was a picture of another woman with my dad. I have never seen Dad, and Mom would occasionally point to the photo and tell me that was him. But other people's dads are always with their moms. Only mine is not around. I envied them, but I didn't dare to show it, because seeing me like this would make Mom hold me tightly and cry. When I was young, there wasn't much time for playing in my memories. To support me, Mom worked very hard all the time. During the day she worked, and at night she would sell things at the market. Sometimes even selling grilled sausages. No matter where she went, I would accompany her and help her out. My mom always stroked my head and said that when I got into college, she could finally enjoy life, because I have always worked hard and never wasted a moment. I finally got into one of the top 895 universities in the country. But my mom was diagnosed with cervical cancer. The doctor said this illness is greatly related to emotions. During her treatment, I often saw her in a lot of pain. Later, when the cancer spread too much, she left me on the day I turned adult. That day, I planted the seed of hatred in my heart. I resented my father and also disliked the woman who took him away. After graduation, I tried to learn about that woman through various channels. I thought she was with my dad, but when I found her, I realized that wasn't the case. She looked very young, and compared to my mom's tired appearance, she seemed particularly lively. I saw her husband and daughter. The man looked quite honest and gave off a practical vibe. Their daughter was like a little sparrow, always chattering and full of laughter. I couldn't help but wonder, why is this happening? Why is she so cruel yet living so well? While my mom feels like two rats trapped in a sewer, clearly it was her and that man who wronged us. I moved my work to Land City, like a thief, often stealing glances at their happy family of 3. I quickly learned her daughter's name, Emma. What a beautiful name. She must hope her daughter can grow up happily. Right, I was determined to destroy that happiness. Just as they hurt my mom, the jealousy and hatred in my heart kept growing, yet I couldn't think of a solution. Until that summer, a new intern named Emma came to the company. And I knew I had finally found my opportunity. I first had my colleagues put some pressure on her, getting her to drink, and then at the right moment, I stepped in to help her. This young girl, fresh out of school, was very naive and full of gratitude towards me. Afterward, I occasionally gave her some attention, showing just the right amount of chivalry and thoughtfulness. Before long, I was with her. Actually, her upbringing was very strict. We talked for 2 years before she slowly opened up to me. Afterward, she was a bit scared, worried that she might get hurt. I told her I bought birth control pills, but I actually just bought vitamins. Later, she got pregnant. When I realized that it had come true, I wasn't happy at all. I didn't even dare to look her in the eye, seeing her fearful expression. Only by taking out my mother's photo could I muster the courage to continue this revenge. While comforting her that we would get married, I lied to her, saying I was very busy with work, coming home late. I originally planned to carry out the final revenge when she was 8 months pregnant. But as I saw her belly getting bigger and her expression becoming more anxious, I started to feel uneasy. I wondered, do I really want to go that far? Another voice in my head immediately flashed. Do you remember how badly your mother was tortured by her mother? After 6 months of struggle, She finally cried and said she didn't want to get married. But could she at least meet my parents? She is very scared and doesn't want to have a child before marriage. Otherwise, her parents would definitely be very angry. I softened inside. I think 6 months is about enough. She can still choose to end the pregnancy and start over. While her mother is heartbroken for her daughter's suffering, she must empathize, right? So I moved up the proposal date. I didn't dare to look at the result, afraid of seeing Emma in tears. So I fled back to Haiti and knelt by my mother's grave for a whole day and night, because I have developed feelings for my enemy's daughter. Lucas Extra 2, I never expected that my act of revenge would affect Emma's entire life. As a result, she was expelled from school, and that woman had a car accident on the same day. Her father slapped her in anger, causing her to lose her hearing, and that kind old man has been in a wheelchair ever since. What surprised me even more was that she decided to have the child. Did I ever ask her why? She was very angry at that time, gritted her teeth and said, "The most heartless person in this world is you, just like your father." Disappointing. You're right, I should be angry. That child looks 70% like me and 30% like her. At the moment I saw that child, I felt both happy and a bit regretful. I thought that I would never have the chance to be with Emma again in this lifetime. But because of this child, a glimmer of hope unexpectedly arose in my heart. After learning about the child's condition, my heart ached even more, and I understood why a girl like her would enter the nightlife, countless times. I wanted to hold her and tell her, "Emma, you're not a bad person, you're the purest girl in this world," but she never gave me that chance. I couldn't save Oliver. And I suddenly felt that there was no meaning in living in this world. Just like the question Oliver asked Emma, "Mom, should I not have been born?" I actually want to ask my mother this question too. From the moment I was born, I caused my mother a lot of worry. Later, I also hurt Emma. In the end, I failed to donate bone marrow to my son. Emma said she feels completely alone, with no family. Am I not the same? Her crazy behavior during that time, while it made me heartbroken, also made me incredibly envious. I really wish I could be that crazy person. She clearly said she wanted me to accompany Oliver to climb the mountain and fulfill his wish, and I felt particularly happy. I thought she could let go of the past and slowly accept me. From now on, no matter if it's just the two of us left, I would no longer be that lonely person. But I was wrong. She chose the most painful way to leave, leaving me with regrets for a lifetime. I decided to do as she wished, donating all my possessions and moving into her old house. Every morning when I open my eyes, I can see 4 black and white photos in the living room. I spend every day in reflection and self-blame. I don't dare to end my life because I worry I haven't yet made up for the regrets of this life. At 50, I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and died in great pain. Before I passed away, I thought of Emma. How wonderful it would be if we had never met.